Have you heard about Psalm 91? I bet you haven't fully grasped its depth. It's one of the most powerful and comforting passages in the entire Bible, known for offering a true promise of divine protection. In a world full of uncertainties and challenges, Psalm 91 acts as a refuge, a safe haven for anyone seeking security in God. But what exactly does it promise us? And why do so many people find such deep comfort in its words? In this video, we'll explore Psalm 91 in detail and understand why its words carry a promise of protection so strong that it can transform how we deal with fear, insecurity, and anxiety. Each verse offers a powerful image of care and safety, constantly reminding us of God's love and presence in our lives. If you want to learn how Psalm 91 can bring peace to your heart, security to your soul, and strength to face any situation, stay with us until the end. Together, we'll discover what this psalm teaches us about trusting God as our protector and finding in Him our safe shelter. The promise of protection in Psalm 91 is something you need to know, and I'm sure it will bring hope and peace to your heart. Before diving into the promises and power of Psalm 91, it's important to understand the context in which it was written. This psalm is part of the Book of Psalms, a collection of hymns, prayers, and praises that express deep human emotions, ranging from gratitude and love to fear and the quest for protection. Psalm 91, in particular, stands out with its message of security and trust in God, and it is known as a psalm of protection. Although the exact author of this psalm is unknown, many scholars believe it may have been written by Moses, the prophet who led the Israelites through the desert. Others suggest it was penned by David, the king who faced countless battles and dangers, but always found strength in divine protection. Regardless of the author, one thing is clear: Psalm 91 was written during a time of great adversity, when God's protection was desperately sought in the face of crises and uncertainties. Imagine a time of conflict, invisible threats, and uncertainty. Much like today, people back then needed something to hold on to, a promise that they weren't alone in the dangers of life. And that's exactly what Psalm 91 offers. It presents God as a refuge, a safe shelter from everything that might threaten us, both visible and invisible, physical and spiritual. Over the centuries, this psalm has been recited and cherished in various cultures and historical moments, always as a declaration of trust in God. Many people use it as a daily prayer, while others keep it close as a symbol of protection. It is precisely this promise of safety amidst life's uncertainties that makes Psalm 91 a true spiritual anchor. Today, we too can find strength in it, renewing our faith in God's constant presence in our lives. Let's now see what this powerful prayer reveals about divine protection and how it can be applied during times of difficulty. Now that we understand the context and spiritual significance behind Psalm 91, let's break down each verse and explore what it reveals about God's protection in our lives. Each passage carries a profound message that teaches us to trust in the Lord as our true refuge and fortress. I'll walk you through each verse so that you can absorb the power of these words and understand how they can transform the way we face challenges. So, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Verses 1 and 2, trusting God as our refuge. The psalm begins with the words, "Whoever dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall rest under the shadow of the Almighty." Here, we are invited to live in God's presence, not just for a moment, but as our permanent dwelling, a secure home where we can find rest and peace. When the psalmist says, "He is my refuge and my fortress," he is declaring total trust in God. He encourages us to make God our constant source of safety, regardless of the circumstances. Verses 3 and 4, deliverance and the image of God's wings. These verses speak of deliverance from the snare of the fowler and the deadly pestilence. These metaphors represent unexpected dangers, the traps we don't see and the illnesses that threaten us. Then comes the beautiful image of God covering us with His wings, like a bird protecting its chicks. This is a symbol of care and protection. Under His wings we find refuge, and God's faithfulness becomes our shield and safety. Verses 5 and 6, fearless in the face of darkness and invisible dangers. Here, the psalm encourages us not to fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that lays waste at noonday. These verses cover all types of dangers, both visible and invisible, those that surround us in daily life. The message is clear. Those who trust in God can rest without fear of the unknown, for God's protection covers every area of our lives, freeing us from paralyzing fear. Verses 7 and 8, the promise of safety amidst danger. Though 1,000 fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, it shall not come near you. This is a promise of safety even when surrounded by threats. The psalm assures us that despite the chaos around us, God will keep us safe. We are invited to look with our own eyes and see the deliverance the Lord grants to those who trust in Him, even when everything seems to be falling apart. Verses 9 and 10, God's protection as a dwelling place. When we make God our home, something special happens. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. This is a powerful reminder that by living in constant communion with God, we receive a spiritual protection that envelops us completely. He not only protects us, but also welcomes us as a loving Father, ensuring that no harm will come to us. Verses 11 to 13, angels as guardians. In Him, He will command His angels to guard you in all your ways. God sends His angels to protect us at all times, ensuring that we don't stumble or stray. His divine protection is so complete that spiritual beings, His angels, are dispatched to guide and care for us. This shows us that by walking with God, we have a heavenly escort, ready to shield us from both visible and invisible dangers. The power of God is even manifested in the smallest details, securing our safety. Verses 14 to 16, the final promise of long life and salvation. In the final verses, God speaks directly. Because He loves me, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. These verses are God's response to our trust. He promises to be with us in times of distress, to rescue us, to honor us, and to bless us with long life. Finally, God promises to show us his salvation, a promise of eternal life, a protection that extends beyond this earthly existence into our spiritual lives. Each verse of Psalm 91 carries a powerful message of God's protection and care for those who love and trust him. It is not merely a prayer, but a declaration of faith and security. This psalm reminds us that, no matter the storms we face, the Lord's protection surrounds us. We are loved, guarded, and protected by a God who cares for us in every detail, granting us peace amidst chaos. Psalm 91 is more than just words. It's an invitation to live a life of total trust and rest in God's presence. Now that we've seen the power and promises of protection contained in Psalm 91, the next question is, how can we apply these words to our modern lives? In a world full of uncertainties, where we are constantly confronted with fears, insecurities, and challenges, Psalm 91 becomes a source of strength and comfort, capable of transforming the way we approach every situation. The first way to apply Psalm 91 is by using it as a daily prayer of protection. Many people find peace and security by reciting it each day, especially in the morning, before beginning their activities. By meditating on its words and offering them up to God, we are reaffirming our trust and reminding ourselves that no matter what comes, we are under divine protection. This practice creates a spiritual connection that helps us face the day with more serenity, knowing we are not alone. Another powerful way to live out Psalm 91 is through continued trust in God, even in difficult times. Sometimes we are tempted to take control over everything, but Psalm 91 teaches us to rest in the assurance that God is taking care of every detail. This psalm reminds us to surrender our fears and worries to him, knowing that he is our refuge and fortress. It means practicing trust in both the small and the big things, believing that in any situation God is by our side. We can also use Psalm 91 to protect our homes and loved ones. Some families pray this psalm together, asking for divine protection over their homes, their lives, and those they love. This is a way to create an environment of faith and hope, reinforcing the idea that by making God our dwelling place, as the verse says, He becomes our constant protection. So Psalm 91 reminds us of the importance of maintaining a life of intimacy with God. Making the Lord our home means living in communion with Him through prayer, reading His Word, and seeking His presence. When we are close to God, we are strengthened to face the challenges of the world, and the promises of Psalm 91 become real in our lives. Therefore, instead of living dominated by fear, we find peace and confidence in God, knowing that He is guarding us. Psalm 91 is more than a collection of ancient words. It is a practice of living faith, a refuge that accompanies us every day, offering security and comfort in an uncertain world. May we apply this message in our daily lives, transforming it into a source of peace that strengthens us in every situation. After reflecting on each verse and the application of Psalm 91 in our lives, we realize that it is much more than just words written in ancient times. It is a true declaration of God's love and protection for us. Psalm 91 reminds us that no matter the difficulties we face, we have a safe refuge. It's an invitation to trust in God's care, resting in the assurance that the Lord is with us every step of the way. We live in a world that often confronts us with fear and uncertainty, but Psalm 91 offers something deeper, a peace that comes from total trust in God. It teaches us that we are not alone, that we have a faithful and loving protector who shelters us under His wings, even in the midst of life's storms. If Psalm 91 has touched your heart, may it become a constant source of strength and hope in your life. May you turn to it in difficult moments, remembering that God has promised to be with us. He is our refuge, our fortress, and our rest. Thank you for joining us on this journey of faith and reflection. If this video has brought you peace, share it with someone who needs this message of protection, and subscribe to our channel for more content that inspires and strengthens your faith. And for those of you interested in biblical wisdom and curiosities, check out one of our most impactful videos. Few Christians know the words the Holy Spirit loves. Do you know them? Click to watch and you'll be amazed. Thank you again for your attention, and may you remain under the grace of God. Until next time.